Hi, I'm a DC fan, gives hope. Before I go on, yep, there was a YouTube channel we did, I put a stop to that, but if you would like it to carry on, please subscribe to the channel, DC Fan Gives Hope, and let me hear your views on things, and I'll probably make a video of it. I've stopped it just now because, for many reasons, but if I reach something like 500 subscribers, then it will give me that extra push to carry on with it. So, what do I do? The reason why I'm making this video is because there's so much things that's happened in the last couple of weeks, and I'd like to go through with it with you. And the reason of this video is there was a programme on TV. It used to come on just before the new year, and they called it Last Call, where a priest would come in or a minister would come in and say a few things, before the lead up to the bells. Then there was a Scottish show called Scotch and Rye, and they used to do Last Call. So if you ever look up YouTube, if you go on YouTube, put up Scotch and Rye Last Call, and you'll see what it is. It's funny. So I thought I would put my last thoughts of the year onto here. I might put it onto YouTube in months to go. I have no idea. So that's why I'm making it. So what's happened? Well, recently I've just bought the Justice League soundtrack. It's Justice League soundtrack. Okay, it's a CD. There's about 2 CDs in it. Most of the book, pictures in it. And I love listening to the music. Yeah, I know there's a lot of people out there that want to, are mourning about the replacement of the composer and stuff. But it still reminds me of the film that I sort of like. And it's got moments of other movies in it that I like. So it would be a joy to listen to in the car and put a smile on my face. And we can't change it, and we're coming into the new year, so we're going to put these ill feelings of what could have been to the side, and we're going to move on. And that is what this video is going to be about. It's about moving on and looking forward. But in order to do that, we must sort of look at the past, present, before we can do that. So, what am I going to say? So recently it's came out that, and if you're a Star Wars fan, I apologise, you're going to hate me. I was, and there is a reference to this which will be explained, okay? Now there's a reason why I'm talking Disney on the DZ page, okay? If any of you have followed my YouTube channel, you will understand that I was a huge Star Wars fan. It got me through a lot of bad times in my life. I basically threw myself into the universe at one point. I have got thousands of graphic novels, books, Daft Bane, Crimson Tide and stuff, Nintendo 64 Star Wars game and the graphic novels to go with that. I had the books, Daft Bane, and the expanded universe, board games and everything else, video board games. Statues. I've still got Princess Leia up there, slave outfit. You know what I'm talking about. Clone Wars, animated TV series and Chicken Wars. I had just about everything. I was playing Trivial Pursuit myself. And then Force Awakens came out, and it destroyed me. Mainly because of the character representatives in that, and also it was paying homage. It was basically A New Hope all over again. And what I now believe is this next film, The Last Jedi, is basically The Empire Strikes Back. I am feared for my life to go and see this because I feel like I need to, because I've got people to take to see it, but I am not looking forward to it. For music that used to, get me high and get me excited is falling flat on my face. And Justice League what DC has done right is they kept the characters, and okay, they maybe have changed that. Some people are a fan of the Zack Snyder version, Superman or thingy, but the core of the character has always been there through Man of Steel and Justice League. It doesn't matter how they were filmed, if it was comedy or seriousness or whatever. You've seen Superman and they've kept it to the core. But in Star Wars, the way they've killed certain things off was just hideous. The way they acted, the characters acted towards it. Mark Hamill has came out and you can look him on YouTube, and he has put it down. He has put The Last Jedi down. He hates it. Force Awakens, he said exactly what I felt. He should have came on at the time with when Rey, or whatever her name was trying to pull the lightsaber to her hand. That's when Luke should have came in, caught the lightsaber, saved the day. Had more with Luke and Leia in that Force Awakens to all tie it into what happened at the end of the movie to this movie. He's saying now that his character is not Luke, and who knows Luke more than the guy that played him. George Lucas is not a big fan. The only complimentary stuff he said was that it's you know, the way it's filmed or something like that. So now, but there is a generation of fans who maybe have not grown wise to whatever the Star Wars universe was, and so when they go to see Force Awakens, they'll love it. A niece that went out, she loved it, but that her cousin, who I took to see episode 1, and then I brainwashed him to see the other ones. You know, he felt the same way as I did. You know, he invested himself in time with it. So I can see why some people out there may have a problem with when it comes to franchising, dealing with it. But what I can say is Warner Brothers seems to care. They seem to care. They got a division, DC Films, and tried to put the right people and the right jobs in the place. It only became corporate greed because of one person, that things got in the way and mucked up. But now they've took that and they've put it into Warner Brothers himself under the one roof, because they want to give you the film that everybody, the majority, not just the Snyder fans, but let's bring these two groups together and make it everybody to like it. Disney on the one hand, they didn't even have the sequel planned out. They didn't have the sequel to Force Awakens planned out until later on. They didn't know where they were going to go with it. But the thing about Disney is the name has become so enormous with family-friendly fun. I mean, I've got relatives that when you go into the house, they've got Disney everywhere. So whatever Disney puts out, they're going to love. So now that Star Wars is there, it doesn't matter what us fans think of it. The public is just going to lap it up because it's Disney. And Mark Hamill himself has said that they've stopped making movies that matter. I mean, George Lucas took risks making Star Wars. He took risks with episode 1 and 2 and 3. A lot of people now are enjoying those films. It didn't then. I'm not going to say the same thing about these ones for me anyway, but it's about taking risks and not necessarily giving the fans what they think, whatever. Or it's a director's vision, and yeah, and that's what Warner Brothers should be famous for, and that's why Warner Brothers is trying to go back to that. Okay, because I'm starting to sound like a hypocrite, but Disney now, what a lot of people on YouTube have been saying is they've just threw anything out there, and they've been quick. And because it's got Disney, and because it has Star Wars people are going to lap it up and it's going to make money. And Mark Hamill has says that's all that matters nowadays is money. Christopher Nolan, who's done Dunkirk, Sinocape or whatever it is, the company, all those stars, he said that when he was making the Dark Knight trilogy, he had all the time in the world. Nowadays, not a lot of people have that time. What also scares me about Disney is it seems to be wanting to be like a communist state, like Adolf Hitler's, regime, where it's all the one vision. So we could say goodbye to something like E.T. that was done by Universal. Can you imagine if Disney bought Universal, bought something like Steven Spielberg? You would have ET2, ET3 and ET4, and they'll just pump that image of ET out and everything. And it and the legend of ET would die because of it, because the film. But now Disney has bought something like this. This, I believe, has been done by Fox. Don't quote me on it. Aileen, can you imagine Disney? I know Disney does horror films, okay? Disney has done horror films in a wee segment in the past. But what these things have got in common is the flavours, is a different technique of making movies. And that, for me, will be gone. Now, if you look at the Marvel Universe, all the films seem to be made the same way under one dictatorship, Kevin Feige. Now, some of you may think, oh, this is great, and that DC fan I told you about may say, oh, now we can get X-Men and Avengers together. X-Men could have been done okay if it was in another studio and having a different vision and having a different flavour, so they could go and make different sort of movies. But now they're owned by Disney, it's going to join that universe, then it's just going to blend in. And can you imagine if they went out and bought Warner Brothers? It's things like this has made me hate Disney. Maybe it's because, is it jealousy? It's probably everything you can imagine the reason for why I hate Disney. They have become so big and they're pumping out films and somehow the brainwash. See, if this was politics, you would only have one party in the world. In UK it would only be something like the Tories. There would be no other party to object to them. In America you'll have the Republicans or whatever. And you need different people with different backgrounds and different ways of making movies to make these things different. But where is the light at the end of the tunnel? Well, the light in the tunnel is that, in my eyes, Justice League has bet The Last Jedi. Why? You go and look at the cinema scores, the audience rating. An audience rating compared to Justice League and the DC, the Justice League and Star Wars. Justice League has got a higher rating. You look at critics. Now, critics are also biased. There's a lot of people. Scott Mendelson, who's one of the reviews that's been in our posts, he's come out and said, do not see this film, Blight. Please do not go and see it. That is not a critic's job to say that. Okay, that is, for me, that's childish. Like John Campbell, who's come out and said, don't listen to the Rotten Tomato audience scores, that can be fixed. And then Rotten Tomatoes comes out and saying, no, that is legit. Because they have got programs in place that stop that from happening. So it's a contradictory all over again, So it's but for me, I'd rather listen to people on YouTube, people that have seen the film who are not claiming to be some sort of knowledgeable critic or trying to pass themselves off as we know better, but just the normal people or fans that have seen it and do it. And by what I've gone by the posts, it's now somebody's came out and said, it's just the DC fans that are making these claims that have rigged Rotten Tomatoes. What a load of pants. Most DC fans are probably big, huge Star Wars fans, and like myself used to be, wanted to see a really good Star Wars fan. And wanted to see a really good Star Wars film. The only reason why they would probably go out and do whatever they did would be because they hated the film. Not because of backlash to DC, because as we go about, most of the people that seen Justice League loved it. May have been disappointed in it, but loved it and a wee bit worried and concerned. But now what do we have? So it's I want you to take that in mind. Okay, now Justice League came out before Star Wars, and because of the brand name of Disney and Star Wars, Justice League got more of a thumbs up than a really brand name Disney. Is Disney going to learn from this? No. There's now a petition out making Star Wars The Last Jedi not actually canon, not actually in the timeline, and not actually attached to the Star Wars movie. Let's make it Elseworld, which means it's not even attached to the universe. Let's make this a what-if scenario story. You know? So, did we get that with Justice League? No. The only thing we got with Justice League is some fans were disappointed they didn't get an extended cut, more of the film. But the majority of fans believe that the heroes were right and it didn't harm the characters in any way. And young ones that went to see it, one of them didn't even, who I took, didn't know Superman had X-ray vision. You know, it's just us fans that are suffering, that are getting hyped. But there's people out there that are loving these films, and that's when you've got to laugh at the audience. Now, as I say, people say, oh, it's fixed. No, they've got things in order to stop that from happening, and Rotten Tomatoes confirmed. No, that is an actual audience score. Disney, you may own critics, but you don't. It's fantastic news to end the year. For a turbulent year for Justice League and whatnot, for the audience score and everything else. And for me, it's also disappointing as well, because I believe now Star Wars is ruined for us. But I do still have that hope for this team. And I hope you do too. And as I say, Aquaman now, everybody's worrying about what sort of route they take. James Wan has said it's a different take. And again, that confirms a different take on Aquaman from Justice League, different canon. That confirms that Warner Brothers is still ready to not only just listen to the fans, they've actually made a wee video out wanting your input. How can you go wrong with that? I've seen a video saying, Warner Brothers is looking for you to be interested and get your comments across. They're making the films, not just the director's vision, but your vision as well. It's fantastic, and a great way for a new year. It is a great time. So that's basically all I had to say on the subject. But please, just go and buy that Blu-ray DVD. Don't matter what sort of version it is. When you went to see it, you still had a good time. When I listen to that music, I'm going to, okay, you didn't get the same composer, but it's still there in our lives. We've seen it, and just a pity I've not got it on DVD just now, and I'd watch it. So yeah, please subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to my channel. Support the page, and have a happy new year. Thank you.